Hello, my chicklets. Thank you for stopping by. I'm sitting here with my hot tea, and I'm ready to tell you the story of Truth or Dare. Truth or dare, kiddo? Virgil looked at Patton, the one person he probably trusted the most in the mindscape. Unfortunately, Patton was also very headstrong. He knew what the dare was going to be, and that was not something Virgil wanted to do yet. Truth. He could see the older side pout, an unspoken conversation between the two of them as their eyes connected. All right, what's your biggest fear? That was easier to answer, but he still had to think. Virgil's greatest fear changed depending on what mood he was in, and where he was at in his life. A while ago, when he hadn't been accepted by the group, he would have said his greatest fear was fading, and no one noticing he was gone. Once he had been accepted, he probably would have told them that his greatest fear was screwing all of this up and making them hate him again. It was something he still faced when Dee and Remus showed up. Now, though, his fear had shifted again. He wasn't even sure why he was answering this. Maybe it was because he was tired and it was 2 a.m. Maybe it was because it was Patton who asked. Maybe he just needed to say it. I'm afraid of falling in love. I'm afraid of being the stars in someone's eyes, giving my heart to them and allowing them to hold what is so fragile and breakable. I'm afraid that after years of love and devotion and dedication, I will have to watch as the passion fades, as the stars go out, and what they once loved about me becomes an annoyance they can no longer stand. He pulled at the sleeves on his jacket, looking up at the ceiling to avoid looking at the object of his affection. I'm afraid to fall so deeply and madly in love with someone, to trust them a little more each day, only for time to corrode us and break us apart. Virgil finally looked down at the three who were staring at him without saying anything. I mean, it's not like I need to worry about something like that, though. No one's gonna fall in love with someone like me. He tried to joke. I will fight you. No one talks about my son that way, Patton said before wrapping his arms around Virgil. I was expecting you to say something like spiders, Dr. Gloom, but that was a very poetic answer. Yeah, well, Dad asked a deep question. I was going to take it seriously. A yawn left his lips. Roman, truth or dare? Dare. His voice was softer now. This whole game had started because all of them had trouble sleeping. Patton thought it was a great way for them to have a little fun and get to know each other better. Even if they were all parts of Thomas, there were still things they didn't know. All right, Princey, I dare you to let me do your makeup, but you can't look at it until we all go to bed. Roman brought a hand up to his chest, making a noise of offense. Not that I don't trust you, but we don't have the same style, Virgil. Too bad, that's the dare. Fine. He waved his hand and all of his makeup supplies appeared next to him. Let me start mine and then you can work on my makeup. Logan, truth or dare? As I have nothing to hide, I will choose truth. Nothing to hide? Roman smirked. What is the most embarrassing dream that you've ever had? Is that question really necessary? Logan adjusted his glasses, trying to hide the light dust of pink on his face. Yes. Yes, it is. Another sigh left his lips as Logan began to explain a dream where everything went wrong. It wasn't all that embarrassing, but it seemed to make Logan rather frustrated. His story was long and a bit boring, but they all listened and relaxed. By the time he was done, everyone was beginning to feel a bit tired. Now it seems as if that was enough festivities to tire us all out. We should make our way to bed and get some sleep while we still can. Too bad, Princey. You'll get to take off my masterpiece so soon. Oh, I am overjoyed at that. Roman stood and helped Virgil up, taking his hand to walk him to his room. Neither of them knew how desperately their heart beat for one another. Virgil didn't realize that Roman, after hearing Virgil's confession, was heartbroken. The prince realized he would never have a chance with Virgil while he feared potential betrayal. Roman didn't know that the root of Virgil's fear was Roman. After being enemies for so long, Virgil couldn't bear the thought of being with Roman, only for Roman to once again realize he was the villain. Standing at Virgil's door, Roman looked at the dark storm cloud in front of him. Hey, Virg. You know we all care about you, right? He asked. Yeah. Thank you, Roman. He had that shy smile that Roman rarely got to see as he floated back to his room, torn between the happiness of getting to know Virgil better and the heartbreak of realizing that this was as close as he was going to get. After closing his door, he made his way to his bathroom and looked at himself in the mirror. He didn't think he could fall more in love with Virgil, but he just had. With how much they teased and jabbed at each other, Roman had expected Virgil to make him look like a Disney villain. But the person who looked back at him in the mirror was handsome, confident. His heart skipped a beat. Roman rarely wore makeup. When he did, he went all out. This was still more than he had ever done for himself. He could not deny how amazing it looked. The red and gold eyeshadow on his lids, carefully applied to transition from one color to the other, shimmering in the bathroom light. His lips were a dark red with just a hint of pink in the middle, as if he spoke words of power that demanded to be listened to. Had Virgil always been this talented? Roman didn't want to take it off. He wanted to look at the craftsmanship of his love. Boy, you got me helpless. Chapter 2. It had been a month since that fateful night when the four main sides had played Truth or Dare. It was supposed to be a light-hearted game, something to help the four of them sleep on a night when nothing seemed to be going right. It was supposed to be a childish game, but the words Virgil had said repeated in Roman's mind, haunting him like a ghost. I'm afraid to fall so deeply and madly in love with someone, to trust them a little more each day, only for time to corrode us and break us apart. He knew Virgil was the embodiment of anxiety, but everyone deserves to love and be loved if that's what they wanted. Virgil deserved that. But was Roman worthy to give it? Roman messed with the pen in his hand, looking up at the ceiling of his room. The relationship that he and Virgil had was complicated. Once upon a time they had been enemies, but through the forced self-reflection that came with the Santa-size videos, Roman realized that he would be nothing without Virgil. At the very least, he would not have had as much fuel on his creative fire. Virgil constructed a world of what-ifs, where everything could go wrong, and that gave Roman the opportunity to create those answers, to come up with the solutions for all of Virgil's problems. Virgil had made him into a prince who refuses to admit failure or defeat. Virgil was the one always pushing Roman forward. But what had Roman done? Getting up, he began pacing, clicking the pen to the rhythm of Once Upon a Dream. He wanted to respect Virgil's boundaries, but he also needed closure on this issue. It was then that the idea struck him. He needed closure. It wasn't his place to force Virgil to face his fears, but he could ask for a compromise. Twirling the pen in his hand, it turned into a bouquet of roses, and Roman quickly checked his appearance. He looked perfect, as always, but he adjusted his hair one more time just to make certain. Then, he turned and walked out of his room, heading straight to Virgil's door. The black and purple door mocked him as he debated if this was the right action. He didn't want to lose Virgil as a potential boyfriend, but Virgil also deserved respect, and Roman desperately needed closure if he was going to be just friends. Screw your courage to the sticking place, he reminded himself before knocking. Princey, what are you doing here? And what's with the flowers? He could already see Virgil getting a bit anxious as he lowered his headphones to his neck. Best to make this quick. Virgil, my darling, fairest in the Mind Palace, both due to your complexion and your smile, would you do me the honor of rejecting me? Silence fell between the two of them, and Virgil attempted to process what Roman had just said, looking at the bouquet of flowers that was being thrust towards him. What? I have been thinking about the night of our epic game of Truth or Dare. Roman's arm lowered a bit, and I came to realize two fundamental truths at the exact same time. Virgil's eyebrow rose, not missing the Hamilton reference, but also not stopping Roman to comment on it. I'm completely and irrevocably in love with you. But it is not fair for me to pine after you and potentially make you uncomfortable while your heart is in distress. Therefore, I believe it would be best for you to rebuff my affections. I will sob and lament the loss of a love I was never meant to have, then I can continue being the friend that you need and deserve, without allowing my admiration to get in the way. So I ask again, would you do me the honor of rejecting me. Once again, the look of confusion crossed Virgil's face. That's all you want, Princey? For me to tell you that I don't love you? Roman nodded expectantly. All right. I'm sorry, Roman, but I can't return your affections. I don't love you. Roman gave him a weak smile, his arms once again falling, the roses still in his hand. This was what he wanted, but that didn't mean it hurt any less. Thank you, Virgil. Bullshit. Deceit slammed his hand on the wall near Virgil's door, looking at the two lovesick loons. I have put up with this nonsense for years, Virgil. Deceit shifted into Virgil's form. I refuse to love anyone. They'll see my flaws and leave me behind. Deceit mocked in a perfect copy of Virgil's voice. Princey is so damn hot. It's not fair. Why can't I get someone who would love me like that? Do you know how often I had to listen to that? Now here you have the prince you pine after, like a pathetic pup, might I add, standing in your room, offering you his heart, in a very stupid way, mind you, and you reject him because you're afraid he's going to break it? Deceit threw his arms in the air. No, this is not how love stories work. Deceit turned back into himself. And I thought I was the lying side. He rolled his eyes. If you don't sort this out, Virgil, I will shove you two in a closet together, or I'll stick a patent on you. Virgil hissed at Deceit, and he flipped the anxious side off before walking away. So, Roman whispered, looking at Virgil, who was red even under his white foundation. So what, Princey? I rescind my request. What? Well, if Deceit is telling the truth, and I am the prince that you want to sweep you off your feet, I will just have to put in the effort to get you to trust that we could make us work. He had a sly smile on his face. Roman, what are you planning? He took Virgil's hand, carefully handing over the bouquet. Nothing devious, nothing malicious. I am only planning on proving that I am husband material. Husband. Jumping ahead, aren't you? Virgil asked, looking at the roses. Always important to dream big. Roman gave Virgil an endearing smile before turning and walking away. It's going to take some time, but I intend to completely sweep you off your feet, Virgil Anxiety Sanders. Virgil rolled his eyes, closing his door as Roman walked away. Couldn't help but pull the bouquet closer, smelling the roses with a sad smile. I'm already helpless, Princey. He went to conjure a vase to put the flowers in. He would play along for now, but he wouldn't give his heart to Roman. Not yet. He couldn't bear to have it given back. Thank you all for listening. I know this does end on a little bit of a bittersweet note, but I just thought it was the most fitting. I do hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.